Shri Gurupyo Namaha. I am Rukmani from Pon Vidyashram. I welcome you all to the next session of our English grammar class. In today's session, we are going to discuss a new chapter from your English grammar textbook. The name of the chapter is Verbs. In the English language, verbs with two objects are followed by two different types of objects. They are direct object and indirect object. So let us see an example. I sent Mary some flowers. Here I refers to subject, sent is verb, Mary is the indirect object, some flowers is the direct object. So when you rearrange the sentence like this, I sent some flowers to Mary. So I is the subject here, again sent is the verb, some flowers becomes the direct object, to Mary becomes the indirect object. These sentences contain both kinds of objects. Flowers are the direct object. It refers to what I sent. Mary is the indirect object. It refers to whom I sent it. As you can see, the word order in these two sentences is different. Mary and flowers can be placed first or second in each of these examples. If the indirect object comes first in a sentence, there is no preposition. Same way, if it comes second, a preposition must be used. If the direct object is a pronoun, it comes first and we must use a preposition. So let us see an example. I bought it for my sister. Can you send it to him? I will get it for you as soon as I can. So to identify the direct object in a sentence, ask who or whom or what after the verb. For example, Tej bought a cricket bat. So bought what? I met Rocky at the mall. Met whom? So some verbs have two objects where one is a direct object while the other one tells us for whom or what the action was done. So this is the indirect object. So Lalit gifted his sister a bicycle. So gifted a bicycle to whom? You made me a promise last month. Made a promise to whom? What is a direct object? Direct object is the person or thing affected by the action of the verb. So here, let us see an example. Tom opened the door. So Tom is the subject. So the action verb here is open. And what did he open? The door. What is indirect object? The indirect object is the person or thing receiving the action of the verb. The indirect object always comes before the direct object. For example, we gave John a present. So here, we is the subject, gave is the verb, John is the indirect object who receives the action, and a present is the direct object. When verbs are followed by two objects, the first object, that is the indirect object, is usually a person or a group of people, and the second object, that is the direct object, is usually a thing. Such sentences have this structure. So let us see the structure. So first one is subject, next to subject is verb, then indirect object, then you have direct object. So this is the structure. So let us see the example using this structure. Prashant made his brother some soup. Prashant is the subject, made is the verb, his brother is the indirect object, and some soup is the direct object. Sometimes The indirect object comes after to or for. Such sentences have this structure. That is, you have subject first, then you have verb, you bring the direct object here, and you place the indirect object at the end of the sentence. But in between, we use a preposition. That is, before the indirect object, we use a preposition. So the example, Prashant made some soup for his brother. So Prashant is the subject, made is the verb. The direct object, some soup, comes after the verb. And after the direct object follows a preposition. And after the preposition, the indirect object is placed. So however, if the direct object is a pronoun, then we have to put to or for before the indirect object. So Prashant made his brother some soup. Prashant made it for his brother. The next topic that we are going to discuss is transitive and intransitive verbs. Let us know the key terms for transitive and intransitive verbs. Direct objects are words that receive the action of the verb. Some verbs have direct objects and others do not. If the verb has a direct object, it is transitive, and if it does not have a direct object, it is intransitive. Let us know how to determine whether a verb has a direct object. So in that case, you have to ask whom or what after it. Some verbs will be both transitive and intransitive. It depends on how the verb is used. Now let us see the definition of transitive verbs. A transitive verb is one that has an object. The normal order of words in an English sentence is subject plus verb plus object. For example, Alice likes sweets. So Alice is the subject here. So likes is the verb and sweets is the object. The next sentence, the principal punished the boy. So subject is the principal, verb punished, and the object is the boy. The monk burned himself. So here the subject is monk, verb is burned, the object is himself. Now let us see some more examples under this topic, transitive verb. So transitive verb, it's a verb that sends its action to a noun or a pronoun. Okay. So the noun or pronoun that receives the action is called the direct object. So in this example, the crowd applauded the players. So the verb here, applauded, sends its action to the noun, the players. In the second example, people screamed at the pitcher. So here, the verb screamed sends its action to the direct object, pitcher. Now let us learn about intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are action verbs that do not have a direct object. So linking verbs are always intransitive. So intransitive verbs never answer the questions who or what. For example, the pilot landed carefully. There is no direct object answering the question landed what or whom. Now let us see the difference between transitive and intransitive. The crowd cheered the batter. Here, the crowd cheered the batter. So the direct object batter receives the action from the verb cheered, or cheered sends its action to the direct object batter. In the next sentence, people cheered wildly. So here the verb doesn't send its action to a word. So it is called as intransitive verb. In the first sentence, the verb cheered raises a question, what or who. So here in the first sentence, you get the answer for the question, what or who. But in the case of second sentence, there is no answer for the question, what or who. So when you have an object to receive the action, then the verb is a transitive verb, and when you don't have an object to receive the action, then that verb is called as intransitive verb. Now the next topic that we are going to discuss is linking verbs. Linking verb is a word that connects a noun, pronoun or adjective to its subject. So a linking verb is a verb that links the subject of the sentence to information about that subject. Linking verbs do not describe action. So example, am, is, or, was, were, be, being, been. So this is also called as a state of being verb. So the part of speech is a verb, and the definition of linking verb, it links or connects the subject with a noun or pronoun or an adjective in the predicate. So its role in a sentence, they just say that someone or something is, was or will be. So the location of the linking verb, usually it is found after the subject. So let us see an example. So the dog is brown. The dog is the subject, brown is the information about the subject, and is the linking verb between the subject and the information about the subject. So the next example, the stew tasted good. Stew is the subject, so good is the subject complement, and these two are connected, that is linked using the linking verb tasted. Same way in the third sentence, his name is James. His name is the subject and James is the subject complement, and is the linking verb between subject and subject complement. We have come to the end of this session. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day, children.